I've done a lot of school in my life, a lot of years of public school. And so I think I'm still battling like this comparison thing. And I don't know if that'll ever go away, but I feel like right now it's really being heavy on me because she's about to be quote unquote done with kindergarten, but we're not really done with kindergarten yet. I've been feeling very stagnant in our homeschool journey and not as secure as I'd like to feel about our homeschool journey. I want them to be self-starters. I want them to be self-authoritative and be able to see something themselves and go after that thing without needing other people to constantly affirm them to keep going, if that makes sense. At minimum, they have the endurance to approach and stick with that thing. And I don't think you can teach that through a curriculum. Also, special shout out to Vivint, who is our partner in this video. We are such huge fans of Vivint, so I hope you enjoy this video and keep on watching to learn a little bit about Vivint and what they have to offer. I wanna say that I'm super confident in the ability to homeschool my kids, but I'm honestly not. I'm learning in this season of my life to not allow my feelings and emotions about a thing take me off course. Because I could feel all sorts of ways about something, but if I'm being called to do that thing, whether I like it or not, my goal is always to obey that calling and to go forth. But it doesn't stop the question of, am I doing this right? Am I doing enough? Is she getting everything she needs? Can I do this? Am I equipped to do this? Am I smart enough to do this? Do I have enough money to do this? Do I have enough? We have all these questions about our capabilities as parents, as people. And in this video, I'm just going to kind of expand on where I'm feeling a little insecure when it comes to our homeschool journey and kind of like talk through what I've been feeling. And maybe we can, by the end of this video, feel a little bit more secure about where we're going and how we're going to get there. Navigating anything new can be daunting, but when it comes to your home, Vivint makes it all smarter and easier. We love our home and want to protect the life that goes on in and outside of it. From our cameras to our doorbell to the thermostat, I can control everything from one place with the Vivint app. I'm so tired, but that was amazing. This is how we usually look on homeschool days.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna actually film our session of us actually working on homeschool work, but she just read her first word ever. Like, I didn't prep her. I didn't say the word before she said it. She literally sounded out the letters and read it for the first time by herself. And I was just so stinking excited and happy for her. How does it feel?
Good.
Yeah? Can you read the word that you read?
God.
Yes, got. So proud of you, girl. So my daughter and I are on a curriculum plan that we've been using for about 8 to 9 months now. And while I do notice that she's picking up her letters and words and colors and things of that nature, I can't help but feel like we're not doing enough. Naturally, our day kind of starts off with us waking up around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes a little bit earlier depending on how the kids feel that day. But I'm usually getting up and kind of getting a slower start to our day. That's something that I cherish, is the ability to start our days very slow. So usually I'm grabbing the kids or waking up with the kids if we have some in our bed at that time, and getting the day started with just a cup of coffee and spending time with my family. My husband is usually the one who's cooking breakfast and kind of getting the kids ready. We have divvied up our load, dividing and conquering on a day-to-day basis. So I really focus on getting prepared mentally, like for me for the day in the morning, and he more so takes care of the kids and making sure that I'm even fed in the morning. So he may even make my coffee, but most days I'm making my own coffee. Once we get our day rolling, we've had breakfast together, we do homeschool. And really right now I have 2 pre-K, 1 2-year-old, one 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old. We just do a lot of song and dance kind of stuff for them. There's no worksheets for them. There's no curriculum for them because play is really a great breeding ground for learning, especially at this age for them. So that's what I've really leaned into. When I first started this school year, I thought I was going to have at least my older pre-Ker, my 3-year-old, be on some sort of curriculum, and I bought pre-K curriculum for him, but we literally never used it. Like literally never used any of it because I just felt like they didn't want to do that. Like they would rather play, jump around, be, moving around. And so I kind of leaned into that for them. But for my daughter, who's actually on a curriculum, we've stuck with our curriculum. And it takes us about 20 to 30 minutes a day to get through the curriculum of that day. We're only focusing on math, handwriting skills, and language arts right now. And I could add some history or science in there, but we have a garden at our house. We have tons of bugs and things outside where that's really where I'm leaning into, letting them naturally find those kind of like science moments for them, playing in dirt and things like that, watching things grow, understanding how things grow. And then when it comes to history, they're little. So we're not really making that a very high priority right now in our homeschool journey. In today's video, I'm talking about how I've been feeling stagnant in our homeschool journey and just how I'm combating that feeling and how I'm getting over that feeling. So if you're feeling like you are interested in homeschooling, or you are a homeschooler, or just curious about what this homeschool journey life looks like, definitely keep on watching this video and make sure you are subscribed to my channel and like and comment on this video so I can continue doing these videos for you. But when it comes to whether or not I'm feeling like we're doing enough with her curriculum, I can't help but feel like, am I just trying to compare her to a traditional school system? I've done a lot of school in my life, a lot of years of public school, and I went private for my graduate program, but other than that, I've been in public schools my whole life. And so I think I'm still battling like this comparison thing. And I don't know if that'll ever go away, but I feel like right now it's really being heavy on me because she's about to be quote unquote done with kindergarten, but we're not really done with kindergarten yet. Like we actually have a lot of curriculum left, and I can't help but feel like we're a little bit behind. And I don't know if that's necessarily because we're actually behind or because we've just been allowing our lifestyle and our natural ebb and flow as a family dictate when and how we're doing our homeschool curriculum. So we're not doing a strict schedule of like 5 days a week, an hour, 2 hours, whatever. We're more realistically, we're doing about 3 or 4 days a week on curriculum for about, like I said, 20, 30 minutes. And then the rest of it is more life skill, chores, kind of social interactions, and kind of like developing their sense of self and how they navigate through the world with people. So we go out a lot as a family, and I do things with Sarai to make sure that she's, counting things. And we're kind of naturally making everything in our life a learning moment because we're communicative about that, right? Like when you start doing homeschool, it broadens your horizons when it comes to subjects and topics that you're communicating and talking to your kids about. So I find myself having lots of conversations with them where we'll discuss things that are on their mind or things that they're questioning or things that they see and are pointing out to me. And so that's definitely a constant in our household where we're constantly, looking at animals, looking at colors, looking at, patterns we see, things of that nature, counting things so that it's not so rigid in our quote unquote homeschool time. It's also really hard to balance controlling their environment and giving them the freedom to learn. When it comes to homeschool, I want my kids to have a freedom to navigate their own educational experience themselves. Like, I want them to be self-starters. I want them to be self-authoritative and be able to see something themselves and go after that thing without needing other people to constantly affirm them to keep going, if that makes sense. Like, I want them to feel like if they put their mind to something, regardless of anything outside of them, if they put their mind to something, that they can achieve that thing. And at minimum, they have the endurance to approach and stick with that thing. And I don't think you can teach that through a curriculum. I think that has to only come from experience and spontaneity in your life to have those moments just divinely happen and you learn in that experience. And so finding the balance of not trying to control every developmental milestone that they hit or academic milestone that they hit, like trying not to be so rigid with that is definitely hard, but I'm trying to talk myself into having more grace for what our homeschool journey looks like, because that's one of the biggest blessings of being on a homeschool journey is that you get to dictate what it looks like. Especially where I live in Texas, I can do whatever I see fit and what's best for my kids as much as I desire to. And I could literally unschool them or I could have them in a super rigorous, block schedule if I want it, but I'm still learning them. I'm still figuring out what they enjoy, but also how to challenge them without it feeling like it's too much for them at their age. And I feel like sometimes in public school, we're giving the kids too much at a young age and it overwhelms them. And then they just learn how to check out more versus actually engaging more. But I will say I have learned some great lessons in this first year of homeschool. I have learned what my kids enjoy, what they don't like, what school supplies or arts and crafts, little knickknacks we've gone through over and over again versus the things that kind of sat all year. So when I first started putting together even our homeschool room, it was like I was kind of just guessing at what would make sense and what I see other homeschool moms doing in their homes. And I realized that we tend to do homeschool outside of that room a lot more these days. And I think that's partially because of the age of my kids. I think my kids are a lot more mobile, so we don't necessarily need one spot to do our work in. But I do notice that when I have a certain environment created for my daughter specifically, I have it quiet, AKA the boys and my youngest baby are either out of the house with daddy or sleeping. She does the best when it's quiet or soft, soft piano music or soft jazz music playing. And her and I being able to calmly go through everything that we're working on. Her focus is better that way. So making sure that there's no TVs on in the house or anything going on in the background. I've realized that sitting at the table, just me and her, everything else quiet, is just as good. So I think there's also this idea that if you're going to homeschool, you need to have all the things set up and you need to have the room, you need to have the little desks. I was in that mindset and I realized I didn't need really hardly any of it. I did though need to build my confidence in believing that I could homeschool my kids the best way possible because I'm doing it. The only requirement is for me to show up every day, day in, day out, the same way I do in my motherhood journey. I need to show up in my homeschool mom journey and show them that it's okay if days look differently, but there is a cadence to learning and being committed to our homeschool and educational experience together as a family and as individuals. My kids need to see me taking a step away and being hey, I need to go read for a little bit, or even us all reading together. They love when I read books to them, when my husband reads books to them. Even implementing Reading Rainbow randomly has been such an awesome addition to our homeschool life. I feel like I'm doing it for them, but I'm also doing it for me a little bit because it's something so nostalgic and reminds me of my own childhood, but they do great segments on there that are still very relevant today, showing different people that live in different parts of the world, who live different lifestyles and different career paths, and all these different things are shown to them on this one show. So shout out to Reading Rainbow for still influencing the next generation. Also, I think it's super important that I add this into. I have joined quite a few homeschool groups on Facebook that have been so helpful. I'm in one one for the curriculum that I'm using. I'm also in a couple different ones for like Black homeschoolers and then just like general homeschooling. But it's really great, especially the curriculum group that I'm in, because there's so many moms on there kind of sharing their gripes, their happy moments with the curriculum, kind of how their children are reacting to the curriculum. So that's been incredibly helpful, because I think there is somewhat of a learning curve when it comes to like just getting in a rhythm of homeschool and like what that looks like for each one of your children. Because I'm approaching the time where I have to decide, am I going to put my 3, almost 4-year-old into a kindergarten curriculum in the fall? Or am I going to keep him in a more pre-K, no curriculum until the next year? So he'd be an older 5. Or no, he'd just turned 5 before the next fall starts, because he's just about to turn 4 now. So my daughter is finishing out kindergarten, which even with that, my plan was to just let her kind of go through the kindergarten curriculum at her own pace. And that's what we've been doing. Initially, I thought we were going to take breaks, every 6 weeks, or like having like a Sabbath week, or having the summer off and things like that. But since we've naturally kind of did less curriculum time during the week this year, I think we're going to embrace like all year round schooling, just so that we can make up time where we need to and take the breaks that feel organic to us. Like there's certain weeks, like this week, we have a lot going on. We're doing a day trip to Houston. We're shooting different pieces of content here at the house. So it's hard for us to be on our normal routine when we've got a lot of things going on. So like this week, I'm not stressing myself out trying to also do homeschool. If I can, I will, but I'm not stressing out about that. But that means that we get pushed back, a week or whatever. So I think having the summer is going to be important for us to make up some time a little bit from the past, spring, fall, maybe, where we kind of like stretched out our curriculum a little bit. But I still believe we're going to take a break in the month of July, because we have a lot of family birthdays in July. And so we tend to just be on the go, go, go. And so I think that will be the month that I take time off with them and actually use that time to, update and restock our homeschool room, because even though we didn't need it last year, I want to get back into the rhythm of going in there again, because that was one thing I did love. Like, even though it wasn't a need, when we were in a cadence where we were regularly every day going into the homeschool room, that was such a beautiful rhythm for our family. And we've just kind of fallen off like here and there. But I want to get us back into that groove when the year starts, because I think as my kids get older, I think that's going to be more and more important for them to have like a set aside area in the house for them to focus on their schoolwork. Because I think right now it's a little bit easier because I'm only having my daughter on a curriculum plan. But when I start adding in my son and my other son, and in the future, my youngest little baby girl, I want to be able to have a system that is like working before I start adding in more kids. So that's the beauty of starting when all of my kids are young, is like I can kind of like pace it out a little bit and kind of have a little bit of wiggle room and grace to kind of expand and figure out like what works and what doesn't work for us, while also having like minimal pressure on trying to like make sure they're hitting like certain academic, points and things like that. But overall, I think when it comes to our homeschool journey and when my kids do certain grades, because they're not really grades anymore in homeschool, I still want to keep them at least the same pace, if not ahead of their peers in their age group. And that's going to be nuanced, right? Because depending on how my kids learn, depending on what's going on in the school system that I don't really know about because I'm not in that world, right? I'm going to just be constantly evaluating kind of where we are and figuring out, based on different standards and things that are set by, the government or whatever, if we're aligning with those things for the age group that they're supposed to be in. But also if they're not having like a freak out but just being on top of it, and as a mom, you know your kid best. And so I believe that I will know if I need additional support for a child, or we need to kind of slow things down, or whatever that looks like. I trust that my heart will tell me, my brain will tell me that it's time to shift or pivot. Because ultimately, my goal is this: to create kind, self-aware, ambitious, yet humble and confident human beings. That may look one way for one child and may look totally different for another child. I got 4, okay? So we're gonna have a lot of variation in how we achieve that goal, but that is the goal. And all of that being umbrella and covered by our faith. I'm trusting that we will grow together on this journey. We will continue to find new ways to love each other, new things that we're all interested in. There's little aspects of their personalities that are coming through. And that's the beauty of homeschool as well, is just feeling like I am having more security in my bond with my kids. And I love that for our family and for my husband and I. And while there's so much going on in the world and so many things that we could be afraid of, feeling secure in our home, feeling secure in our relationships with our family makes everything feel like there's nothing that can stop us or break us. And that's a really, really good feeling. As you saw throughout this video, Vivint gave me peace of mind and convenience at every step. There are so many ways that Vivint makes our homes smarter, giving us more than just security, but simplicity, all in one place. If you're ready to live more in the moment, then Vivint is for you. Hit the link down below to learn more.